So, facing the guillotine, facing econ, recon, Donald Trump's guillotine, facing it down. There was this song by the music band Flyleaf, one of those oddly deceiving Christian bands, like a lot of, there's certain metal bands that are actually Christian that you don't realize until you really read the subtleness between their lines or you listen to their early interviews. Now they do sometimes change to being secular. But in the case of Flyleaf, they have this song that when the timing is right, it really affects me emotionally. It really gets the love coming out of my heart. And that song is Cassie. And the way the song is, it's almost formed in the story of this killer comes into a room and he has all these people lined up. And as he goes from person to person, pointing a gun at them, asking them whether or not they believe in Jesus Christ. And you believe in Jesus Christ, you get the bullet. And in Cassie's case, she said yes. So it always brings me back to some of that ethnic cleansing that you have going on in Africa, like literal cleansing of people. Also, similar situation in when what happened in Serbia. I would say it would be ignorant to not think that it would be possible in the United States, especially when, say, in this era of mega churches, is the percentage of believers as great as it used to be? You know, the thing that would have normally prevented that situation from occurring. Now, to believe that there's a Jewish cabal that wants to eradicate the world of Christian believers, I personally haven't seen the evidence in the same way that you've seen it. Do believe that Donald Trump, as an individual, that talk about changing federal death penalties and things like that, I don't know how much I can trust the sources for those reports. What I mean by that is the first thing that I found after watching your video, Econ, is it led me to a synopsis of a Rolling Stone article, which without Matt Taibbi there, I don't believe a word Rolling Stone says. And it has to do with a source from inside Trump's thing said he did this, and a source from inside that said he said that, you know, to bring back firing squads, bringing back the guillotine, bringing back public hanging. Do I think morally Donald Trump is capable of entertaining those notions? Possibly, as evidenced by some of his other behavior. Like, he's the type of person that I believe in a meeting, he's like, well, why are we taking nuclear warfare off the table? You know, like, because nuclear warfare is awful? How about that shit? You know, he just kind of bounces off the walls, and which would be fine in certain roles, but if he's working to surround himself with a cabinet and people that will facilitate that bouncing, then that's no good. You know, he's not, I don't believe he's qualified enough to realize that his role is just a portion of the puzzle that it would take to do right by the United States, if not the whole world community. Now, a lot of people who love Trump love that he appears to be a professing Christian. However, when I watch interviews where he's asked, hey, are you a Christian? And the litmus test for, and this isn't for you, Econ, I'm sure you've heard this before, but the litmus test for when you're evangelical is, what we look for is when you ask a person that question, if their immediate answer is, well, I try to be a good person, then that, at that point, lets you know there's some work to do. You know, God is still has work to do in that person's heart. Now, could God use a person like Trump to do what needs to be done upon the earth? Absolutely, and absolutely that's biblical. Could he use the people of Jewish ethnicity that are upon the earth? Absolutely. Do the Christians as a people require guidance and discipline? Not for me to say as a whole. I can tell you that I do. And I can also tell you that unlike other faiths, the Christian faith is at its best when it's persecuted. Other faiths require to be on top. Christian faith is a bit of a fights best from the guard. So the question is, if the guillotine were set up and you were in line and all you had to do to be let out of the line is say, no, I'm not one of those people, then you want to make sure that your heart is in such a shape that you can say yes. Hope that's today for your heart. Whether or not this guillotine of urine is real or imaginary. I mean, this stuff with the Noahide laws, as well as the Old Covenant ways. Is it the church at Ephesus that had a problem with? There was like some Jewish involvement that had these believers thinking they needed to keep the festivals. I don't know, and I struggle with that. With the Catholic faith also, there's definitely a keeping of the festivals outside of freedom. Now, real briefly, in regards to Owen Benjamin, I'd like to caution you to be careful with it. To discern that he's a Noahide, it's possible. I would say more than a Noahide. He's certainly not a leader as it pertains to the way. Is he capable of being one? Possibly. Can God use him in his position? Again, most definitely. That rabbit hole that I went down this last weekend because of what you shared about him was healthy and something I needed for myself. So hard to say, man. Hard to say. But there's definitely persecution upon the earth. The dragon is definitely going across the land and looking for what it can consume. I will say something interesting as an aside, and I'd like to hear your points on this. Sam Harris is cautioning that this pursuit of artificial intelligence is going to be merely summoning a demon. How's that? Anyway, catch y'all later.